So if the Bills end up the 6th seed and the Chiefs remain the 3 seed in the opening week, Bills Chiefs at Chiefs, who wins that game?
I wonder what the line would be in that. I don't feel
I'm asking
great
you
about
who wins
it.
the game.
I know you want me to say Buffalo.
That's
I know
the,
you want
that's
me to
the very
I know you
first
want me
game.
to say Bills. That would
Well,
be so the Chiefs. That's part of what could be the Chiefs' most difficult path. It would be home game versus Buffalo, traveling to Miami, and then traveling to Baltimore. That's not an easy path, except for they do have Patrick Mahomes last time I checked.
Well, they also do have Scantling, Martell, whatever his name, called Scatterhands. Right, like that's the whole thing. Patrick Mahomes is only as good as the guy who catches the ball. And there's only 1.5 guys catching the ball for Kansas City. Kelsey is the one, but they now triple team him, and he's not as lively as he's been, and maybe Rice. And that is it. Now, if the Chiefs lean on their run game like they did last year in the playoffs, we could be having a different conversation, but you're also talking about a bagged up backfield. So, again, look, here are your two options for the Chiefs. Either Buffalo comes to play you in the first round, or Miami comes to play you in the first round. And you don't think that Tyreek Hill is not going to try and go for 200 yards? And if Jalen Waddle is rested, and you're going to tell me that the Cowboys at 10 can't get even out of their first week, where the Chiefs may end up playing Miami or the Bills in their first game? Like, hey, brother, I don't know if it's legal out there in Kansas, but stop smoking it this early.
Dude, I think you're on the stuff. You're the one who's telling me that Dak Prescott is going to get further than Patrick Mahomes. You're the one
I said the Dallas Cowboys would. They've got a defense.
And
okay.
The Chiefs' defense is better than Dallas.
Oh, if I would take the Dallas. You're going to tell me don't take Micah Parsons if he's one of the options on the field? Brother, that's insane in the brain.
I think that they've got the better players, but as a whole, numbers don't lie. The Chiefs' defense is better in a lot of categories.
They do lie if the Chargers and the Raiders are in your division.
That's fair.
No, that's fair. What are those numbers?
Now, I'm sorry, remind me, do they play Washington and do they play the New York Giants in that division, or is everybody great out there? Okay, but
did they play the 49ers? They play the 49ers? You know what I mean? Like Dallas, they got a primetime schedule too. They get primetime games they get stuck in as well. So you would probably say it's almost a push.
I can't wait for the playoffs to come around and Dallas to lose 42-10 and Dak to have his tail between his legs.
But it might be in the second game, not the first game. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The Chiefs in their opening week will either see the Bills, most likely the Bills, or Miami. Right? Some other things that have to happen. But again, I'm not here to be the Dallas pusher. I'm just saying on your list to say that Dallas is 10th out of 10 in most dangerous teams in the playoffs is fugazi. That's all I'm saying.
Better to forget it. The Nuggets are going to be your NBA champions again.
Forget it. And I don't mean to play the homer card, but I am with you, Sean Levine, the sports machine, just west of state line, living the dream, right?
That's right.
You're right. Look, I believe the Celtics have figured it out. And it's crazy to say this, but it's actually true. When Kristaps Porzingis is in the lineup for the Celtics, they damn near look unstoppable. And part of it is because they now have a true defensive presence in the middle that can also be a legit scoring option. So if the argument has always been like in the playoffs, just frustrate Tatum and make Brown do it, you and Marcus Smart take a shot. You have the control of the backcourt of Drew Holiday. You have the consistency of Jason Tatum. Brown has been consistent at time, but he's not as dependent on. And now you have Kristaps Porzingis, who can do it from inside and outside and block shots as well. If you saw on Christmas Day, he made LeBron look very small at the rim, and that's not necessarily something that the Celtics have had to address on a consistent basis. So the Celtics, I think, are the NBA winners this year.
They're the favorite, by the way, at +350.
So forget it that Denver wins the NBA. Forget that Denver wins.
It's crazy. Boston for the last, when was Isaiah Thomas there? 10 years ago?
5 years ago? 5 years ago.
Their turnover has been incredible, yet every single year they're right there. Now, it's a little different the last couple of years with Tatum and Brown at the top, but it feels like, as you said, it feels like they finally added the right pieces to the mix with Porzingis.
So this is a team I saw coming down the pike. I took a 10-1 ticket early in the season for Baltimore to win it all. It's probably now a minus ticket or very close to plus money. So I'm not surprised at Baltimore's showing at all. I never thought that Lamar Jackson, after he made Brock Purdy look like the last man drafted in a draft, I said this is Lamar Jackson's to win. I didn't even really think Tua was in the mix of things. But because of Lamar Jackson, and there's nobody else on his offense that you could say, oh, they might also be an offensive player of the year too. That's different with Purdy, and that's different with Tua, where they have two players on their team that could arguably be offensive player of the year. So that's why I knew that Lamar Jackson was definitely the MVP of the league maybe about 4 weeks ago.
The crazy thing is it's not just Mark Andrews that he's been without. He's on running back number 3. The offensive line has been a little bit banged up. This has basically been Lamar Jackson and a really underrated defense. Everybody's talking about Lamar because he's been so good. Outside of Cleveland, Baltimore is also the best defense in the NFL. But it's been the last couple of weeks where Baltimore has really shown us, KJ, that they're so much better than everybody else. You could argue that they've played the number 2 and 3 teams in the NFL behind them over the last couple of weeks, San Francisco and Miami, and they've beat them like a fiddle, 89-38 combined. Is anybody close to Baltimore? Can anybody beat Baltimore?
Well, probably any of my wrong answers making a tight end into an offensive lineman with a little Patriots mistake there. Sorry, Mark Andrews, David Andrews, center for the Patriots. Can anybody beat Baltimore? Well, one, could they go to Baltimore and do it? And I think there's a chance, yes. Is there a team? Potentially Buffalo, because in the same argument I had with my uncle, I said Buffalo is going to be a dangerous team because the attention and the favoritism is not being painted all over them. Buffalo, if they get away from their mistakes, that they could be undisciplined. I just haven't seen that undisciplinedness from Baltimore, and it usually would start with John Harbaugh. Some of his decision making, not going, tending to go for it when you've got one of the greatest kickers of all time. So I haven't seen those type of coaching mistakes that I'd seen in the past that they tried to stick on Lamar Jackson, like he can't win the big game. It's like, no, don't go for 2 when your offense just went through a defense like a hot knife through butter. Like, do it again in overtime. So I don't see some of those coaching weird decisions from Baltimore that I've seen over the last couple of years.